I'm Tyler Epson, and this is what the fuck's on my mind. Marvel Phase 4. You know it, you hate it if you like any film with a plot structure close to Home Alone, and this sentiment has been the subject of discussion over many D&D game, Warhammer table, and the porno store killer that is the internet. My last video that all two of my loyal viewers saw covered my thoughts on the last offerings Phase 4 laid at our feet. She-Hulk Attorney at Law and Wakanda Forever. A rant that's essentially a bourbon-infused stream of thought patched together over multiple weekend benders. But that little bit of word vomit was really just the tip of the iceberg regarding my feelings on the current Marvel Cinematic Universe as a whole. And considering my actual flesh and blood friends now suffer from the onslaught I've traumatized them with about this, I find it only appropriate to infect the rest of you with my special blend of vitriol. That being said, I do know I'm pissing in the same bucket half the world already has. But seeing as how the newest installments of the Marvel films are now being rolled out, with the first entry being the well-received Ant-Man film, along with the third Guardians of the Galaxy movie, which Marvel has slutted out for commercial endorsements like a child actor whose parents have just developed a meth habit. So it looks like there's still another chance for me to take pot shots at something that's molested my childhood. There are things about Phase 4 I really do like, and I think there were a lot of interesting premises, concepts, and attempts to shake up the paradigm. The problem is that all of the Phase 4 projects give off the feeling that Marvel knew they were too big to fail. And each time they put out an intellectual septic tank, they gave no fucks because they knew that the poop water inside it would be bought and consumed like champagne, without taking into consideration that not all of us are smooth-brained mental invalids that want poop in our water. If you followed the franchise on social media, and I don't know why you would at this point, you've probably seen the assgasms people have talking about their absolute disgust of current Marvel and the woke bullshit narrative it tends to push. But I feel as impressive as all the shit talking has been for the most part, there's a lack of divergence when it comes to the mocking of this subject matter. This is where I come in. Any fan of stand-up comedy should be familiar with the roast, which since the early 2000s was dominated by Comedy Central, but I'm sure many of you aren't familiar with the OG that is the Friars Club, which is how I got hip to the concept, and more importantly, the certified legend that is Jeff Ross, who blasted Ben Stiller by saying a movie he made was so bad, famous film critic Gene Siskel took the easy way out of having to review it by dying from a brain tumor. And that is my inspiration for my latest bit of jibber jabber. The roast, not the brain tumor. So now I present you with, or verbally assault, potato potato, Tyler Epson's roast of the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Phase 4. Miss Marvel. It's what would happen if you let a Twilight fan fiction writer develop a multi-million-dollar production. A teenage girl power fantasy with a story that makes less sense than scratching your dick with a cheese grater. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Captain America was white? Well, fuck that guy. The super soldier serum was a top secret military discovery that was never correctly replicated in 80 years? Well, fuck America. Because plots can be convoluted, villains can have flimsy motivations and not really seem threatening, and black people can only be really insightful when we're complaining about the establishment. Hawkeye. It's like watching your best friend slowly die of idiot cancer. WandaVision. The equivalent of a champion racehorse about to win the Kentucky Derby, then right before the finish line, breaks its front legs, crashes headfirst into the ground, knocking the jockey out of his saddle, who snaps his neck like Christopher Reeves. Then the horses behind them crash into their corpses, creating a clusterfuck of death right in front of those big hat wearing, mint julep drinking jagoffs. Black Widow. Pure action and exposition diarrhea. A cinematic experience similar to eating a Taco Bell Crunch Wrap that's been left on your counter for 2 straight days. Shang-Chi, a big old convoluted bag of what the fuck. I've seen kung fu flicks that drag on and are a bit boring, House of Flying Daggers, and ones that make fuck all sense, like 2/3 of every Shaw Brothers movie. But this one takes the chocolate-covered hemorrhoid. It's what you would expect from a Marvel martial arts movie with very little reason to want to watch one. A shit storyline, and it's not so much bad, but just really disappointing and super lame, with the same stink of pandering you've already come to expect. The Eternals. Fucking god awful with a capital fucking. How did Marvel allow this movie to be made? It is the essence of everything that's wrong with Phase 4. Terrible pacing with characters and plots no one would ever give a shit about. How does a movie this long feel this rushed? Oh, I know why. Because there are 10 goddamn Eternals. This film makes Miss Marvel, WandaVision, and Black Widow look like masterpieces, and She-Hulk and Wakanda Forever actually seem watchable. And it has the nerve to try to be philosophical with a logic so thin I wouldn't wipe my ass with it after a chili dog bender. Thor Love and Thunder, the closest thing to visual vomit Marvel has ever done. This makes the Eternals seem not so asshole shitty as it really was. I've never seen a Taika Waititi movie, and this film makes me considering chopping off my jerk off hand before having to watch another one. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. A movie so bad, even alcohol doesn't make it less boring to watch. This makes me want to go back in time and kill my parents before they met, so I never had a chance to watch this shit. How the fuck are you the main character in a superhero movie and everyone is more super than you? Cinematic bukkake that needs to be hosed down like the hooker that let it happen to him. Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas Special. This show has all the appeal of a 70-year-old stripper. Proof that the only good thing about Christmas is getting too drunk to remember the last one. Except for that sinking feeling that maybe it wasn't really a dream that you showed your junk to your cousin after cookies and eggnog. Werewolf by Night. I've got a better title. Shit Show by the End. Moon Knight. If unimpressive were a flavor of ice cream, it would be this show. How on earth you could make a show about a superhero with multiple personality disorder this boring is a bigger mystery than how Brie Larson got her career off the ground. What if sanctioned race and gender swapping mixed with a reminder that, to quote Shakespeare, men will easily let the world and even the universe go to shit over pussy? Loki, a textbook lesson on how to castrate an established character. This story is so hard to watch, it's like having to pump yourself up to do the deed just to end a fuck drought. This show is like watching Doctor Who have a stroke because Rick and Morty gave them fentanyl-laced coke. Spider-Man, No Way Home. This must be what it feels like to get a candy bar after a Catholic priest has touched your weenus in the wrong way. Like there's a right way for that to happen. Afterthoughts. I get that Marvel is trying to do this all-inclusive remake of itself to try and align with modern sensibilities, but I think two major things are being overlooked. The fans that have been the true backbone for the Marvel Cinematic franchise are really just looking for the IPs they grew up with to be presented in a respectable way. And many of them feel that the characters they've championed for years have basically just become fodder for reworkings to please some PC bullshitters that at the end of the day are never going to reciprocate the effort made. And those real fans are the ones that are going to buy your happy-go-lucky shit when all the other regular schmegulars stop giving a fuck about comic book-based movies. At least for now they will. My second point, I think that everybody, Marvel included, knows that the well is pretty much run dry. And the Phase 5 lineup is proof of that. So at this point, the only option they have, besides scraping the barrel for the few D and C list characters they might get some traction with, is do what any other film company will do. Rehash previously successful ideas with the expectation to cash in off of brand recognition. But it's one thing to beat a horse to death. It's another thing to beat it to death, fuck it, eat it, and then fuck it again. Old Man Tyler out.